Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Noland. Tonight we're going to be talking about Paul McCartney and Wings and one hand clapping. Not the album necessarily, although we're going to be discussing a bit about that tonight as well, but the movie that's coming to a theater near you. All right, so first of all, we have received releases from former Beatles several times this year. We've received releases from Ringo. I'm not exactly a big Ringo post-Beatles fan. Anything beyond the Ringo album, I have generally not been interested in. However, we've also gotten a re-release, a remastering, a reimagining, as it was, for John Lennon's Mind Games. An album that is actually a very good album when you realize that you've only got so many John Lennon solo albums to compare it with. But in my humble opinion, compared to Imagine, and especially the wonderful Plastic Ono Band album, it doesn't hold water. Part of the problem was John insisted on producing it himself. John was never a producer. And the other part of the problem, I remember when I saw the album cover, I almost didn't buy this album, because who wants an album cover with Yoko Ono's face in the background as a mountain? Now, I was glad when I heard the album was going to be remastered. I think that it was the one John Lennon album that needed remastering the most. But what did we get? If you bought the top tier product on this release, you got it in a cube, a huge cube. You would open the cube by removing the plastic cover and all the artwork that was surrounding the product inside. When you removed that lid, it just flopped on all four sides. Now, the cube came complete with the remastered album, bonus tracks galore, remastering, takes we hadn't heard, and songs that many people couldn't access. These were the so-called hidden tracks, depending on what system you had at home. And with a black light, you could shine that on the disc and you could watch John Lennon's face turn into Yoko Ono right before your eyes. Now, the reason I bring this up, it's kind of important because we also got releases from yet another Beatle this year. And of course, I'm talking about Paul McCartney. First of all, we got this wonderful release, all right? Now, this is the remaster, the 50-year remaster of Band on the Run. Now, that doesn't look like Band on the Run's cover. Of course, the album inside has that cover, but it also included a bonus disc. These discs were called the Underdubs. There's no need to fear. The Underdubs are here. Now, I did a video on this, didn't I, folks? I explained in that video that I thought these underdubs were absolutely wonderful. You see, when you listen to those underdubs, you realize that the underdubs contain all of the elements that make those songs so special. What was done to those underdubs to create the album proper just added the gloss, but all of the workings for those magnificent songs are on those original underdubs. And the packaging is pretty basic, very attractive. 2 discs slipped into an outer sleeve, and I loved this release. Now, of course, Paul McCartney also released one hand clapping this year. This has been a great year in which Paul McCartney has turned his attention to his Wings career, something that he really hasn't done since he released the album Wingspan. Along with that, we got a film, an interview with his daughter Mary, covering the history of Wings, and that history started right at the time the Beatles were in their most desperate time, and Wings ultimately sprang from that after a couple of McCartney solo efforts. And of course, once again, the album artwork is basic, just a simple release from Paul McCartney. Now, keep all of that in mind, because it's been announced that Paul McCartney and Wings, one hand clapping, the film is coming to theaters. McCartney has teamed up with a couple of companies to present this film to us, and it's going to include even some of his famous backyard recordings. Added to that, evidently, we're going to get an intro by McCartney today talking about the entire project. Now, I'm not expecting a major increase in quality over the footage that you can already find on YouTube. After all, the entire project was filmed on videotape, but I'm sure they'll take that videotape, make copies of it, and punch it up as much as they can. I'll be interested to see if there is a noticeable increase in quality of the footage. Now, as I've stated before, I think this is an essential release, both as a record and as a film. In my previous videos, I kind of hinted that we would probably see a film before too long. I didn't think that he would actually go to the point and release it in public theaters. But I'm grateful for that, and if it is released on August 16th in my hometown, I definitely will be going to see it. I'll even include a video on it of me going and my immediate thoughts after seeing the film. But I gotta tell you, I'm a little doubtful if there is a great market for this film. First of all, in general, rock films don't do great business at the box office. A few of them have broken that rule. And this project's 50 years old, so a lot of the moviegoers are from, again, the younger audiences. And will younger audiences even be interested in a younger, resurrected Paul McCartney and Wings? But for those of us who are interested in this film, this is the release of an important rock document, in my opinion. You see, they're putting it out as the documentary it was always intended to be. And in my opinion, as I've stated before, it's been far too long since Paul McCartney gave any kind of lip service to the second most popular band that he was ever in. Of course, Wings couldn't hold a candle to the Beatles, but if there was only one band post-Beatles that could even come close to selling what the Beatles sold, it was Paul McCartney and Wings. Now that gets me back to the whole discussion regarding the releases between John Lennon and Paul McCartney this year. How is it that on one hand, we have John Lennon's release by an artist who is known for his honesty and his realism, and on the other hand, we have 3 releases from Paul McCartney, an artist who has been criticized by some Beatle fans as being a little too fake, and yet which of these releases is the most fake, Hollywood-oriented bullshit package you've ever seen? I'll say it now, and I'll say it loud. The Mind Game package, The Cube, is the most ludicrous release in rock and roll history as far as I'm concerned. Now, I can't blame John for that. John was murdered. But once again, I can always blame Yoko Ono. What a crock of shite this release is, and especially when you compare it to the very real and historically significant releases by Paul McCartney this year. Now, to all you Lennon fans out there about ready to crucify me, I am a major John Lennon fan. I am no more a Paul McCartney fan, than I am a John fan. And I can't blame John Lennon for his release. He's no longer around. It's the Lennon estate and all the bullshit that goes on with her releases of John's material. I just can't stand it. And yet, with all the hoopla around that release, McCartney manages to release 3 releases in a year that are not only fantastic releases, but are historically significant. Much more significant than an overgrown hanky in a cube. All right, folks, so here's my question to the tribe tonight. Are you planning to go see this film while it's in the theaters? Or are you going to be like a lot of people and wait till it's available? Because I can guarantee you it'll be out by Christmas. And that's fine. A lot of people don't find going to the movies a whole lot of fun anymore anyway. But are you excited for the release of this film? I am so tired of trying to find a decent copy on YouTube, and with the bonus material and how they're setting this up, I'm excited. I think this documentary should have been out decades ago, and I'm so happy that Paul has chosen 2024 to revisit his career with probably the most successful band as far as hits are concerned of the 1970s. But what about you? Are you going to go see this movie? If not, are you waiting for it to come out, and will you purchase it when it comes out? Have you purchased the 50-year anniversary copy of Band on the Run? Did you get the album One Hand Clapping? Because in my opinion, this is a wonderful bit of ear candy in a year, 2024, that has been very, very dry as far as releases from classic rock heroes of the past. All right, folks, that's the video for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That helps with channel growth and all of that. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel as of yet, maybe you're just a casual viewer. You catch a couple of my videos in your home feed because it's been recommended to you. Joining the channel is pretty simple, folks. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button, tap that top bell icon. You gotta tap that thing. Otherwise, you won't be notified of all my videos when they come out in a timely fashion. All right, I'm Michael Noland. This is The Bottom Line. And like I said, I've spewed the bottom line quite a bit tonight. But it's just my bottom line, or at least at this point it is. You see, it's in the comments that the real bottom line for this channel occurs. It's in the comments where we prove we, wait for it, are the tribe.